Hey there, everybody. How's it going? There are people that contact me about payroll files just so they can sneak in a question about who's going to win the football games this weekend. So I felt like it was time to do a video about the NFL algorithm. It had a pretty good run. If you look at the results from the divisional week, you can see that things got a little mixed up here after I redid the injury report. For example, some people on Buffalo got injured in that game, and it actually and the Chiefs as well. It actually evened up the score with current injury report. We did have the Chiefs winning though in the video that I did. It was the Chiefs winning, I believe, 23-17, which means we got all the winners, including the Chiefs, which were an underdog. As you can see, worked out pretty darn well. And what's the prediction for this weekend? Because that's all anybody cares about. Well, the two home teams, once again, it does say that the Ravens win this game by more than one score here against the Chiefs. Lamar looking to really secure himself as an MVP. He needs to go to a Super Bowl. He needs to win a Super Bowl. He seems focused. One thing I was paying attention to watching Lamar, for example, in the game that they just had last week against Houston, there was a play where Lamar ran into the end zone and he jumped in. And then even after he landed in the back of the end zone, he didn't like spike the ball or lose the ball at all. He knows what it's like to need to like have to hang on to the ball and make sure you accidentally don't get caught with a touchback for the other team if you let it go. He is focused on bringing this to completion, meaning I do see him looking stronger, and they look like the best team this year. So it does show the Ravens winning this game. So you can see the line is not as bad as the San Francisco line, where a lot of people think San Francisco will win this game fairly handily against Detroit. Algorithm doesn't necessarily agree with that here. It puts it as less than a one score game, actually only about a 5 point difference, which means Detroit keeps us within one drive at the end of the game, and anything can happen in a game that can be that close. So what I'm reading into the algorithm here is that Baltimore is strong. Of course, it's because you're going against the Magical Chiefs, but Baltimore has a different defense than Buffalo. And by Buffalo, that was a really excellent game between Buffalo and Kansas City. But you can see that wide right. I mean, a field goal that goes wide right. Is there anything worse than Buffalo happens again? I couldn't believe that because I remember seeing the wide right field goal back in the 90s. I was telling my son about that and we watched that on YouTube. I was like, yeah, Scott Norwood was the guy's name. Like he could have won a Super Bowl and just missed it like 5 yards wide to the right. Well, I guess it was Bass was the kicker for Buffalo. Missed the field goal to tie the game up with under 2 minutes left. Tough Buffalo fans. I understand how rough it is. It's a city that just cannot win a championship in either hockey or football, where they have two teams. So they're out now. This different situation, and you can see that the algorithm favors Baltimore both in terms of score and in terms of win score percentage. So it's one of those where it's going to be probably Lamar's to lose. Like if Lamar has a good game, doesn't throw any interceptions, doesn't run around fumbling the ball or something, and continues on the focus that he's on, Baltimore's defense, will do enough, and it looks like the Ravens will win. And as for this other game, uh, notice that the over-unders we have here are both lower. That's probably because our magnifier is a little bit low, meaning the magnifier could go all the way up to 4.5. If we'd used a magnifier of 4.5 last week, it would have been more consistent with the scores of the actual game. So here that brings us up to about, yeah, like three touchdowns and a couple field goals for the Ravens, a touchdown and three field goals pretty much for the Chiefs is what it's seeing here. It's saying fewer touchdowns when you see a point total like that. And then in the other game, it's, two touchdowns and two field goals for the Lions and three touchdowns and a field goal for the Niners. It's what it looks like. But notice that still stays within one score, which means this game probably comes down to a drive at the end of the game. Now, that being said, if that works out, you're going to have the Ravens and the Niners in the Super Bowl at a neutral site location. Tougher to forecast. We'll get to that when we get to that and put those teams in there because both teams are really away, given that the game is in Las Vegas. So we'll have to adjust the scoring to do that and to note them both as away, and then we'll get a projection after these games are over. But let's not do it until these games are over and we know exactly who's going to be in the Super Bowl. So there you go. It's NFL. Good luck. May all your picks be winning. Enjoy your football and good luck. Go Niners. Go Ravens. I mean, Ravens are basically the hometown team right now. So go Ravens.